Hello and welcome to Lewis Nichols Live Stories in association with Shane Solomon. I'm really excited to welcome to Cornwall, Linda Robson. Thank you.
It's not often you get a national treasure in, is it?
I know, well, we've had two.
Two national treasures today, I know, yeah.
Do you like that term, national treasure?
I do. My kids get the hump with me, though, because if I'm ringing a restaurant, I go, have you got a table for four, please? They go, yes. Name, please? I go, Linda Robson, national treasure? They go, shut up, you're just embarrassing.
Do you actually?
Yeah, I do. I think if you've been in the business over 50 years...
You can do that.
This is my 56th year this year in showbiz, then you're a national treasure.
And you referred yourself?
As a national treasure. I've even got it on my bracelet. My kids bought it for me.
You're really?
National treasure. No, not that one. That one, national treasure.
Oh, I love that. You need to get, is it Dame Linda Robson?
Yeah, that'd do. I'll be happy with that.
Well,
I've already got one Dame friend, Kelly Holmes.
Yeah.
She's one of my best friends. So I
We're going to talk
recommended her
about
for
that.
loose women. Yeah.
Yeah, you two are very close.
And Brenda. I recommended Brenda Edwards as well.
Really?
So my son, Louis Dumford, was best friends with Jamal Edwards. And that's my son's in the music industry now, all because of Jamal Edwards.
Wow.
So, I know.
So you could recommend us to the right people.
I could maybe. Can you sing?
No.
No, not
really bad.
I have had a #1 record, but they turned my microphone down.
What?
It
Really?
was for children in need, yeah. So me, Larry Lamb, Joe Brand, loads of us did it, Alison Steadman. And then I was driving along in the car with my two kids and it got to #1. So I stopped it and we listened to it. They went, we can't hear you. I went, no, because they turned my mic down. And they turned Joe Brand's down as well. So
Are you
I've got
in the
a
video?
terrible voice. Yeah.
Okay. Today's interview is life story, so it's all about your career so far because you've done so much, like you said, over 50 years in the industry, a lot to pack in. So I wanted to talk about your childhood because I've read your book, and it seems that you got your two sisters who are a lot more quieter. You were the kind of outgoing one,
Yeah, the lad one.
and then you had an amazing relationship with your mum, who you seem very different. I mean, if your mum was to step out the house, she was immaculate, glamorous. Then you would go out in your
never leave
pajamas.
the house without her hair and her makeup done and that. And then when I used to take my kids to school, I'd have my nightdress on and then just put a coat over it. My hair would be all over the place and that. And my kids would go, don't pull up outside the school, don't let anyone see you. And then I'd go into the bagel shop in my nightdress and get my bagels to bring home and that. But yeah, so I think my mum, sometimes I think she was embarrassed by me as well. She goes, Jesus, I can't believe you're going out like that. So she was Catholic Irish and one of 13, 8 boys and 5 girls.
Wow.
And she was the only one out of the whole family that never ever drunk. Never.
Okay.
I never ever saw her have an alcoholic drink. She just loved Diet Coke.
I know, because didn't you take her on holiday somewhere and they had Pepsi?
Yeah, we went to Disneyland. I took her to Disneyland with my kids when they was younger. And she went, I'm never coming back here again. So I said, why? I thought you'd had a nice time. She went, I've had a lovely time. She went, but I don't like Pepsi. She went, I only like Diet Coke, so I'm never coming back here again.
She meant it
She
as
was
well.
fussy as well, really fussy.
It's interesting, your relationship with your sisters, because it seems that you are chalk and cheese. You know, they're
Yeah.
very quiet, maybe not as much of a sense of humour as you have.
Yeah, see, I had my dad's sense of humour. My dad had a really good sense of humour. My mum had no sense of humour whatsoever. She didn't like music either. My dad loved music, which I've got a love of music as well. Although I can't sing, I like singing along to it. I am tone deaf, I think. So I know when I'm not in the right key, but I can't get myself in the right key.
Do you know, when I read the book, your relationship with your dad was so special because it's clear you were the favourite.
I was, because I was the oldest, and that, so I used to get taken to all the Arsenal matches, and that because we're big Arsenal supporters in my house. Unfortunately, my grandchildren and my son-in-law are Tottenham supporters, which doesn't go. Oh no, I'm finishing this interview right now. That's it.
But you know, you say you're a big Arsenal fan, but you couldn't tell the difference between Sven and Arsene Wenger.
No, I did, mate. I did quite a few things over the years that embarrassed my children. So we went to the topping out ceremony of the new Arsenal stadium. And then for some reason I called Arsene Wenger Sven. So I went, oh, Sven, nice to meet you, Sven. And my kids are going, oh my God, you're just so embarrassing.
Do you know what I love is when, again, the book, there were so many good stories because you were very open and honest with the book. You know, there were some parts of that where you thought, wow, because we see you on TV and you're always so much fun, but there was a lot behind the scenes that you were going through that a lot of us wouldn't have known.
No.
So when it came to putting the book together, was there an element that felt like therapy?
It did really, because the woman that I wrote the book with was called Beth Neal and she lived in Newcastle. So she used to come up and meet me after loose swimming and that. But she knew more about me than I knew about me. Like, because she'd say things to me like, remember when you did a film with Richard Burton and Billy Connolly? And I went, oh yeah, I did The Absolution. And I forgot things like Crossroads. I was in Crossroads. I was in prison in Crossroads as well all them years ago. But there were so many things that she remembered that I would never have remembered, you know, like it was therapeutic doing it. And then obviously I was very honest about my depression because both my son and my husband over the years have had depression and I'd been the carer there looking after them. And then all of a sudden they were having to look after me. So I found that really, really difficult. So, I mean, I was really, really bad for 2 years. I was on suicide watch as well at one time. But that's all in the past now.
Yeah.
So we're moving on and, you know, like, and hopefully I'll never go through that again. But if you had said that would happen to me, I would have gone, no, never in a million years. I'd always been the strong one, the matriarch of the family. And all of a sudden they were having to look after me, which I found really difficult.
When you look back now and you realise that they were there for you, do you see it differently or do you think, oh, no, I wish they didn't have to do that? Or do you think, no, do you know what? I'm glad because I had a moment, I was vulnerable, I needed support.
Yeah.
Do you look at it differently now?
I do, yeah, because in my head, that wasn't me at that time, you know, like, because I'd always been the strong one, as I said. So I found it really, really difficult. And my grandchildren as well, you know, like, so they wouldn't leave me alone with my grandchildren at one point, which I would never have done anything to. I love my grandchildren more than my children and my dog as well. I love my dog more than my children. I've got a Frenchie, so I'm an animal lover. I've always had dogs all my life and now I've got Dolly Parton.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah,
okay.
she's lovely. She can sing and all.
Let's talk about your time at theatre school because it seems that you love that. I mean, that's where you obviously met Pauline, but you also, a big part of going there was the men, you know, you had the Kemp brothers.
We had the Kemp, Martin and Gary Kemp. We all had a crush on Martin Kemp. Everyone had a crush on Martin Kemp. So they lived in my road. They worked on a fruit stall on Essex Road when they were young. And then we had Kathy Burke there, Patsy Palmer, Sid Owen, so many people. Adam Deacon went through there, loads and loads of people that would not be in the business now if it wasn't for Anna. Definitely me and Pauline wouldn't have been in showbiz without her. And it was never a money-making concern. It was 10p a lesson. So everyone could afford to go. It was just basically getting kids off the street.
Yeah, she never chased people for money either.
No, she never, ever did. She never did. But we were known as real kids rather than the jazz hands, you know, school kids or whatever.
So when you first met Pauline, because when you in the book, the friendship, you two are just, you're meant to be friends, you know, you just clicked. So can you remember first meeting Pauline and how you felt about her?
Yeah, so my nanny Dardis, Biddy we called her, she was Irish, she lived in Colford Road and Pauline and her mum and dad, her mum, her sister and her brother lived in the road next to us. And so on a Sunday we'd go to church, because we're Catholic Irish, we'd just go to church every Sunday morning. And then we just started playing out on the streets together, me and Pauline. And we went to the same primary school, which is how we ended up being best friends, because she's from an Irish background, I'm from an Irish background. So I think we had a lot in common, really. But we've been there for everything together, like Vic and Finn, like when she lost her mum, I was there for her. And then when I lost my mum, I lost my dad at 57 to lung cancer. And I remember thinking he was old. And then when I got to 57, I thought he was so young when he died.
Yeah.
But I had a great relationship with him, and so did Pauline. So on a Friday night, my dad would go out with his mates, and me and Pauline would go out with them as well. And then when I got married, when Pauline got married, she wanted my dad to walk her down the aisle because she didn't have a dad to walk her down the aisle. So he walked her down the aisle as well. So.
I know you used to go drinking together and then you'd come home and your mum wouldn't be too impressed if you were late.
No, she wouldn't.
I mean, you both got slapped by your mum at one point.
Pauline thought she was going to get away with it, but she
was laughing at you.
Yeah, she was laughing at me getting a wallop, and then my mum walloped her as well. So she went, your mum would want me to do this, and she walloped her as well. So
the bit I loved was when you snuck out and you came home and your dad was just falling asleep.
And he had a cigarette light with the ash hanging off of it. And I had to climb in the window to get home. And he went, where have you been? I went, I've been out with my mates. He went, don't let your mother know.
I just love that.
So I had a great relationship with him. And even when I got pregnant with Lauren, my oldest daughter, my mum was like traumatised because Catholic Irish. My first sister, Tina, got pregnant out of wedlock, and then I got pregnant out of wedlock. And we was down at a caravan site, and I weren't feeling that great. I had a little bit of morning sickness. She went, if I didn't know better, I'd say you were pregnant. I just went silent. She went, Jesus, you're pregnant. She went, oh my God, what am I going to tell the family? She went and that. But and then I told my dad, and he went, do you love him? So I said, yeah. He said, do you want the baby? I said, yeah, I do. So he went, we'll have the baby. Like with him, it was just a no-boner, really. He just knew straight away that I'd want to have her. And then I had 2 more lovely children after that. Lost one in between, Louis and Bobby.
You spoke about that in the book, and that was, you grieved for a very long time
I
with
did,
that, and even now you still think.
Well, it would have been a little girl, so I would have had 3 daughters and 1 son. But then the way that I look at it now is that I wouldn't have had Bobby, my youngest daughter, if with that one. I don't know, but I wanted more children as well, but I was always busy working as well. So I was pregnant twice during Birds of a Feather, so I just had to have big bags to cover up the baby bump and that.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
Well, going, with Birds of a Feather, but initially, where was that transition? Because you went from theatre school, you and Pauline had a great working relationship as well as personal. But when was that transition into television? Can you remember that moment where you were given the chance?
Well, at Anna's, they would have directors coming down to watch us doing like improvisations and whatever. And then there was, I don't know, you won't remember because you're far too young, but back in the day, there was Saturday morning pictures. So it was like 10p for the kids to go to Saturday morning pictures. And we did a film called Junket 89. She played Molly and I played Daisy. And we loved it because we were getting paid. I was the first person in my family to have a bank account. My mum had a post office account. It was always cash back in those days, weren't it? And then you'd have to go down and get a license to say that you could work. And our chaperones would be the mums of the other kids that were at Anna Scher's. So we loved the chaperones as well. And then just gradually work started coming in, and whenever they were looking for like real kids, they'd come to Anna Scher's and that. I've just done a couple of films with Adam Deacon, who was one of the kids at Anna Scher's. So I did Another Hood years ago, and then this year, I did Some Other Hood as well.
Love that.
So there's like the teenagers that would recognise me for that because they've got like a big following, Kidulthood, Adulthood, Another Hood, Some Other Hood. And I get to swear in it quite a lot as well, which I quite like doing.
I know, because you sometimes get told off on Loose Women. I mean, you probably know which part I'm referring to.
Yeah, I know exactly what part you're talking to. So
everyone else loved it, but you were genuinely mortified because you thought, I'm going to get sacked.
I was going to lose my job, because it was half term as well, so the kids were at home. And so it was Charlene White's first ever anchor job. So it was Charlene, Brenda, Sinetra and Kelly Bryan were the panel that day. And they told me it was a rehearsal, so I had to reel £1 million in a shopping trolley into the studio. And I went, so today is your last chance to win £1 million all in one go, or you can win £10,000 a month for the next 4 years. And I went, I can't fucking see that, can I? And I looked at the Loose Women and I went, are we live? And they went, yeah. I went, wow. I said, I was shaking. I went, I'd just like to apologise for what I just said. I thought it was a rehearsal. And I went off with me £1 million in my trolley, and the producers were in a corner talking. I thought, oh no, that's it. I've got the sack. And then, you know who saved me? Andy Peters. He came on with a bar of soap and said, I'm going to wash her mouth out with soap. But I don't know why I swear, because my mum never swore. My sisters don't really swear. But for some reason, I've got a potty mouth.
Well, no one complained, though. You didn't have a single complaint.
No, because they said if I'd aggressively swore at somebody, I would have lost my job. But it was just my personality said that, so...
I think it's brilliant. You also worked Shine on Harvey Moon.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that, how that came about and that opportunity.
Well, I did something called The Other Half with Lorraine Chase, which it was Dick Clements and Ian Lefrene that wrote The Other Half. And then for some reason they liked what I did in The Other Half. I played Lorraine Chase's cousin or something in it. And then they came to me with an idea saying that we're doing a series just set after the Second World War called Shine on Harvey Moon. We'd like you to play Maggie in it. So I jumped at the chance, and we had, I mean, I didn't know about ratings then, but it did really, really well in the ratings. That's the first time I'd ever heard anyone talking about ratings. And it did really, really well. And we did it for probably about 5 years. A lot of it we'd improvise together as well. So it was Ken Cran and Maggie Steed, Elizabeth Spriggs. Lee Whitlock played my brother, who touched, it's very sad, but he's not with us anymore. But I kept in touch with him for years and that. But I loved it. I absolutely loved it. So.
Wow. Is that where you had to travel to
go to Nottingham to do it.
And did you get Pauline on the show?
So she came down to visit me while I was doing Shine on Harvey Moon. And then we were in the bar after, and one of the writers, Lawrence or Morris, said, why don't we try writing Pauline into it? I went, yeah, she could be one of my mates in it. So she ended up being Veronica. She had a patch over her eye and got pregnant. She couldn't remember who she got pregnant by. And then they just loved the chemistry between us. And then one day they didn't have enough script, so they said to the two of us, why don't you improvise? So we had a magazine and we just improvising, the pair of us. And then the crew started laughing at what we were saying and whatever. And then probably about, I don't know, 6 months later, they said, we're going to try and write something for you and Pauline together. Forgot all about it. And then one day we got a phone call saying, do you want to meet us at a pub in Islington? And we went to meet them and they said, we've got this idea for a series for the two of you. They said, one of you are going to live in £1 million house in Chigwell and the other one's going to live in a high rise in Tottenham. And Pauline said, I know which one I am. So, and that's where it came from. And it all came from, they heard these two women talking about, it was Christmas, they were at a hotel in the West End and they heard these two women talking about their husbands being in prison and that's where they got the idea from. And then the rest is history, really. So 1989 we started, and then probably about 5 years ago was the last one that we did. I can't remember. We did one during lockdown with Les Dennis. It was meant to be Paul O'Grady, but he didn't pass his medical. So Les Dennis did it, and it was great. And we still obviously mention Pauline a lot in it, but she just doesn't want to act anymore. She's got acting academies that she loves.
I love the story where you talk about, because you and Pauline so close, but when you first met Leslie, because was it at the Ritz and you went there not dressed as maybe correctly. You would expect to be at the
Pauline
Ritz.
Had her Reeboks on, her trainers and her jeans and a big T-shirt, a big baggy T-shirt. The pair of us just went like quite casual. And then when we got there and saw how posh it was, so they told us about like what was going to happen. That's the first time we met Leslie and we sort of got on with her straight away. And then the wine waiter, what are they called, the wine waiters, the posh ones? Sommelier.
Oh, there we go. Shame
so,
would know.
Yeah, so they came in with a big bottle of pink champagne, poured it into our glasses and we added sparkling water to it. And he was traumatised that this expensive champagne was now getting sparkling water tipped into it. But we just got on straight away, really. And we had some amazing times. We had the same crew right the way through all them years as well. Same cameraman, same makeup, same wardrobe and that. And for Christmas specials, they'd always be in parts of the Christmas specials.
Yeah,
so when their families would sit and watch when they got home.
Do you know what I loved as well? Because, you know, in the industry, I've met some celebrities and I've interviewed them that
but you've never met two national treasures?
No, this is the first. I'm excited. I want to get a picture of both of you.
Okay.
Just to say, but it's very much us and them. And what I love is you said that all your crew would be in your hotel. You made sure that they were staying exactly where you stayed. Yeah,
because we wanted them to be treated the same. We did a series called Jobs for the Girls, me and Pauline as well, where we did 4 different things. So we showed dogs at crafts. We did opera singing with Leslie Garrett. And we had people like Kiri Takanawa giving us lessons and Michael Crawford giving us lessons. Pauline actually had a really nice voice. She was pregnant with Charlie as well when we did opera at Kenwood House. And she said to me, we'd only ever rehearsed with a piano. All of a sudden, when we got to Kenwood, there was an orchestra, and it was like the scariest thing ever because we'd been used to just one bloke sitting on a piano, and now all of a sudden. So at the dress rehearsal, she went, right, if I dry, you come in and sing my bit. So I said, all right then, and if I dry, I'll come in and sing, like that. And then she dried, and all I could do was laugh and pat her on the back. She went, that ain't going to help me, is it? I thought you were going to sing. I said I couldn't because I was laughing so much. But I think it was nerves as well, so. And my kids were in the audience at Kenwood that night and they got really upset because it was Leslie Garrett sang first, I sang second, and a few people laughed in the audience and my kids got really upset. I went, don't worry about it. I'm not a singer. I just did the best I can do. And then Pauline sang last and she had a really nice voice, Pauline. I was the only one that didn't have the good voice. So. And then the teacher said to me afterwards, you forgot to breathe. I went, I couldn't fucking remember to breathe, could I? I'm so nervous. Can you beep all this out?
I think we should keep it. It's what people would expect. They love it. With Birds of a Feather, when you finished the first series and you recorded, and did you have a feeling this is going to be special? This is because it was so different.
Well, what happened after the night the first episode of Birds of a Feather went out, we went to the producer's house. Her name was Esther Charkham, right? And we didn't know about this, but you could ring the BBC and say what people had thought about it. And they said there'd been like 100 and something complaints about us swearing on there. So we thought it was going to get pulled straight away. But so I rang my sisters and said, ring up the BBC and tell them that you thought the show was brilliant tonight. To my 2 sisters, Tina and Debbie. Pauline rang her family and said, ring up the BBC and say that I thought the show and the actors were brilliant in it. Anyway, the next morning, it was called Thin Air and Gloria Hunniford was presenting it at the time. And then they rang my sister Tina and said, I hear you loved Birds of a Feather last night. She went, yeah, of course I did, because my sister's in it. So this was live on air. And then Pauline got caught as well. So we got caught ringing up saying how brilliant we were.
And you'd organised all of that.
Yeah, we'd organised it.
Obviously, the show went on and it was so successful. And
yeah.
I mean,
we'd get like 27 million viewers for a Christmas special, 25 million viewers and that, like.
You know, you speak in your book, I don't want to give too much away, but money, you know, a lot of people on other shows, Only Fools and Horses, were being paid significant more than you guys. And you came together as a collective, kind of said, no, we're going to do it for this. And there was no kind of arguing. They said, you know what, you're right.
Yeah, and because in the bar one night, we'd always go to the bar afterwards, have a few glasses of wine and that, and like our family would be there and like all the crew and whatever. And so I can't remember what I was going to tell you then. Oh yeah, so the accountant then told us how much that they were getting for Only Fools and Horses, which was quite a lot more than we were getting, a really lot more than we were getting. So the three of us said, no, we're getting the same amount of viewers, maybe a little bit less than Only Fools and Horses, but we were getting really good viewing figures. So we said we'd like to be paid the same, and they agreed to it straight away.
Amazing.
So yeah.
And
that was before all this was going on in Hollywood with women finding out that they want the same money. So we were like groundbreaking, I think.
Yeah, you made a stand.
Yeah, we did.
But you know, the thing is, you speak quite openly that you spent money a lot, and for other people, you know, you would take them on holiday, and you were so generous. But you left the show, Birds of a Feather. That must have been difficult for a start.
It was, yeah, because we were earning really a lot of money, but never mind the money. We had the best times, honestly. Yeah. We went to Berlin and filmed a Christmas special. We went to LA. We were in a restaurant with Sylvester Stallone was in there. Shirley MacLaine was in there. We took our kids out there as well to America. We've got a lovely picture of the three of them. So there was Leslie's daughter, Lizzie, Lauren, and then Emily, Pauline's daughter, and the three of them would ring down and say, can we have loads of bubble baths sent up? So we walked in the room and you couldn't even see them because there was just bubbles everywhere and that. So, but we had such happy times on there. We really, really did.
Why did you leave? Because, you know, you said you had good times, really well paid. What was it that made you think, now's the time?
Well, we just thought that maybe that we'd done as much as we could do and that we needed to move on to different things, really. And it was like we never told the crew or anything. So the very last episode we did, when we finished it, the three of us were crying our eyes out and just like cuddling. Yeah. The three of us were just all cuddling each other. And then obviously the crew and everyone found out. And then we felt like we were putting them out of work, you know, like where we'd worked for so long. But we just all decided it was time that maybe we tried to do some different things, which we sort of did as well. But then we went back again after all them years. So we did the Birds of a Feather tour. We toured all around the country, Scotland, all over the place. And it brought people to the theatre that had never been to the theatre before. And it just did really, really well. And then because it did so well, the BBC offered us an hour Christmas special, and then ITV offered us 7 episodes, and it was a no-brainer, really. And it just brought a new audience, a younger audience to it as well. So,
well, what I loved was when you were talking about all these jobs and I think you did like an advert for surf. Yeah. And you were treated like Hollywood stars. You were flown out.
We had stand-ins. We got there one day and we thought, oh my God, they've recast us. There was 2 women there with our clothes on. We thought, oh no, they're getting rid of us and they're using these 2. And then we found out they were stand-ins. But the star of the adverts was the surf washing powder. You know, like that would arrive in like this box. Security would bring it in. It'd be lit and everything. It was just, but it was mad times. It really, really was. So we were earning really a lot of money, but then I spent it all.
And you were very open with that because you said the money started to dry out and then you had to say yes to jobs you would maybe have said no to previously. You know, you said yes to kind of every game show that came in because you wanted to get it back again and say, right, I'm going to do this the right way. Because you said you're good with making money.
But even now I get pocket money on a Monday and a Friday. So
really?
my oldest daughter, Lauren, has taken over my money. And then on a Monday I get so much. And then on a Friday I get so much. And if I ring on Tuesday and say, can I have some money? She goes, no, you've had your money this week. So they're looking after my money now. It's the same thing. But I loved buying things for people. I loved taking my family to Portugal. I'd book a villa out there and we'd all go out to the villa and whatever. Disneyland and, you know, like, so I love holidays as well. I should be the new Judith Chalmers, really, honestly. So this year already I've been to Cyprus twice because my daughter got married out there years ago and we've been going there for over 30 years. Then Mallorca twice as well. So you heard the story about what happened to us in Mallorca.
Yes.
Michael Douglas and
Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Yeah.
That's again, when you talk about that, that's in the book.
Yeah.
It's one of those moments where I think you were like, oh my God,
The
this
pair
is
of us
just
were
crazy.
pinching each other and going, oh my God, it's this.
Didn't you go to the toilet and was like, what's going on?
Honestly, we didn't. And then when we got back to the villa that night, my son rang me and he went, you had a good day, Mum? I said, yes, son. I said, I've had a really nice day. He went, what'd you do? I said, we had lunch with Michael Douglas and Catherine Zeta-Jones. And he went, you're a liar. I went, I am not a liar. I said, honest to God. It was just like the most amazing thing. And they were lovely as well. We all ended up round a piano singing. Catherine Zeta-Jones was singing and that.
He was researched on you as well. He knew all about you.
So when we got to the top of this mountain, we got out of this old minibus and he went, hey, I hear you two are birds of a feather. We're like, oh my God. We couldn't believe it was him.
Incredible.
It was lovely.
Do you know, the bit that got me was when you speak in the book about the royal family, because they watched Birds of a Feather.
Camilla was a big fan of Birds of a Feather. So Camilla was coming down, I think it was Camilla and Charles, was coming down to ITV studios and they said to him, who would you like to meet? And they said, she said, I'd like to meet Birds of a Feather. And we had a chat with her, me, Pauline and Leslie, and we ended up talking about our grandchildren. She was lovely, absolutely lovely. And then we went to Buckingham Palace. We got invited to a Buckingham Palace party. And it was Rosemary Schrager was doing the cake and everything. And there was the royal enclosure over there. And Camilla saw me and Leslie standing outside, so she invited us in. So we went into the royal enclosure and Leslie's daughter, Lizzie, and my husband were on the outside and we were just waving.
It's hard not to.
Yeah,
and I mean, you also, the late Princess Diana, also you said was a fan of the show.
Was a fan. Apparently she loved Birds of a Feather as well.
Did you get to meet her?
I didn't get to meet her, but I got to be in the same vicinity as her. And I got to meet Charles. We did the Royal Variety twice, me and Pauline. So once she was a ballet dancer and I was a dance teacher. And the other time we did I Will Survive. It was probably the scariest thing ever. And we had people under the stage singing for us as well. Because, as I said, my voice ain't great, but I did give it some welly as well, yeah.
You speak a lot as well about your love of comedy and you felt that was your direction. I mean, you worked on a sitcom with Sir David Jason, Richard Wilson. So what was it?
Open All Hours.
Yeah.
And I did something called Agony with Maureen Lipman as well. So I think, and I did one called Elfa Lester with Brian Murphy. And I just remember after I did, I think it was the Elfa Lester, the director said to me, you've got really good comedy timing. And I thought, I hadn't even thought about that, but he said, you've just naturally got your comedy timing. So I think the three of us have got that as well. And I think it helped that we knew each other so well as well. So.
And that meant a lot to you because they commented on your ability with an audience clapping in a live situation. You were able to navigate that very well.
Yeah.
And it kind of made you think, wow, I'm actually being recognised for this art. And, it meant a lot to you to get that.
Yeah. But I did a series called Harry's Game. And I had to do a Belfast accent in that. And my mum's friend, who she went to bingo with, Beryl, was from Belfast. So she helped me with the accent. And then I got really good reviews after it. And I thought, this is going to open different doors now. Yeah. I'm not going to just be Cockney. I'm going to be able to do all these different accents. No, that was the only one I ever did.
You do it so well, though. You are the Cockney queen.
I can do it as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That sounds good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you never got any more?
What are you trying to do to me? I'll get done in. That's quite a good Belfast accent.
Mrs. Brown's Boys.
I did it with Christine Lampard and she said, yeah, you're good.
Yeah, you sound like her actually when you're doing that. Do you know what I loved in the book was when you speak about every loose woman and your relationship with them, because you hear various stories that person gets.
It's because we're women. They never would ask men, do they all get on together? Yeah. We actually do get on together. I mean, I've been doing Loose Women for 20 years now. It's 25 years old this year, and I love going to work with them, honestly. And we all get on really, really well. We're all different in our own ways, but we all, for some reason, gel and that. I think because we've been through so much together as well, like Gloria lost Karen, it's like Brenda lost her son, and we've all been there to support each other. And they were there to support me when I had my depression as well. Even Janet Street Porter, who I'd worked with from 1976, rang every day to see if I was okay when I weren't well and that. So
it's amazing, isn't it? Because you are really such a sisterhood.
We are. We're really, really close.
In the papers, I don't know why, but they love to make out that there's tensions or a rift between you and Pauline. But actually, reading the book, they are so far apart. Where's that come from?
I think it's just because she doesn't want to act anymore. And then they just think that there's always this rumour that we all fell out. We never fell out. We've never fell out. I'm still in touch with Pauline now. She spends a lot of time in Lanzarote and we all get on perfectly, honestly. We went to lunch with her probably about 6 months ago, me and Leslie, and we had a really nice lunch and that.
My friend actually went to the theatre school, one of Pauline's.
Oh, did you go to QQA? Yeah.
Yeah.
They're all over the place. There was one in Barbados, one in Spain. So that's what she concentrates on now.
Do you know what was so special? I'd done all the questions for this interview before reading the book, read the book, ripped up the original questions because I felt you were so brave.
Yeah.
And so much in the book, I was like, wow, I could imagine you being the most amazing friend. You come across as the most amazing mother, an amazing daughter, Did you, when you were doing the book, was there a chance where you reflected and thought, do you know what, I'm all right?
I did, but I had to give my kids like a copy of the book, and each of them took loads of stuff out. Like, because my son-in-law, I said he's got low sperm count. He went, "Can you take that out, please?" I went, "But you have." So I had to take that out. There was loads of bits that they took out. They'd go through the book and take all the bits out that they didn't want in there. And that's so.
Do you know the story? And I'm going to let you tell this story because it's the most random thing I have ever read in the book.
Imagine what it's going to be.
Elton John.
Eurostar.
All
right, yeah. So I don't dream a lot, but for some reason I went to bed that night. I don't know if I had a glass of wine before I went to bed. Anyway, I woke up the next morning and thought, oh my God, I've had sex with Elton John on the Eurostar. I thought my husband's going to kill me if he finds out. And it was really real, honestly. I swear to God, I'd never had a dream like that before. Anyway, Simone, who works on Loose Women, she's one of the makeup girls. She travels with Elton everywhere and does his makeup and that. So she was going to see Elton this day. So I went, "Can you do me a favour? Can you give him this letter for me?" So I went, "Dear Elton, I love you." I said, "I've just read your book and I love everything you do." I said, "And by the way, do you remember when we had sex on the Eurostar?" And I put in brackets, "in my dreams." And then he sent me back a letter with these initials on the top of it saying, "Dear Linda, it wasn't the Eurostar, it was the Orient Express, and we made so much noise they chucked us off."
Amazing.
And it was just like, yeah, he did. I love him. And I still want to meet him. I've never met him. But Janet said before I die, she's going to take me to meet him. But I've also got a handbag, right? So on Loose Women, they were talking about designer handbags. I said, I've never had a designer handbag, never wanted a designer handbag. And then Janet Street Porter bought me an Dolce & Gabbana bag that Elton John bought her in the south of France years ago. So basically, Elton John bought me a designer bag.
Have you still got the letter that he wrote?
Yeah, I have.
Oh, wow.
It's like in a little frame. And
if we could ever get a picture of that would be amazing just to see.
Yeah.
And do you know what I like? With a book sometimes you get the first chapter and it's all about the kind of dark, sad times. Then you get the funny side and then the celebration. But with this book, it wasn't like that. It was not done in a particular order, and you'd go from a funny story like that to the sad moment when your mum decided to leave your dad, which you found very difficult.
She chucked him out, but I don't think she ever thought he'd really go.
Yeah.
I think she thought because she chucked him out a few times before. He was a great dad, but he was a terrible husband. So he cheated on her the whole marriage. And I said, for some reason, he wasn't a particularly good man, but he had a great sense of humour. And for some reason, women were attracted to him. So he had an affair with a woman that worked in the chemist in Essex Road. Then he had another affair. And then I was talking earlier, he told us he was a night watchman. So he was a roofer by trade, bit of a cowboy. So he'd like fix the slates on the roof, but he'd take the slates off the roof next door. Then he'd knock on the door down there and say, "You've got some slates missing up there." So he'd get himself another job there.
Wow.
But so he told us he had a job as a night watchman. And then after 2 years, this woman turned up and said, "You think he's been a night watchman? He's been living with me for the last 2 years." So
didn't she come to his funeral?
She did come to his funeral.
Because you had to tell your sisters.
We was like scared. We just thought, who's going to turn up out of all these women? And we had played of all the girls he's loved before. we had that played on there.
And
my sisters didn't want it, and I said no. I said he had a sense of humour. He would have loved that, so.
What was quite striking was when you talk about your relationship with Tony. It was kind of your first
love. Yeah.
But there are a lot of similarities between him and your dad.
Yeah.
In a sense of. You seem to very quickly say enough's enough.
Yeah.
He managed a few times to win you back over, but you wouldn't stand for it. But he wasn't faithful,
No,
and so much so that your mutual best friends were the ones to kind of tell you.
Well, it was actually one of his best friends.
Yeah.
His name's Robert Warren, so it's Frankie Warren's brother. So he gave Tony a week to tell me because everyone in Islington knew he was cheating on me. He was seeing this girl called Claire. And he said, "I'll give you a week to tell Linda what's going on. Otherwise, I'm going to tell her." And then in the end, Robert told me, Tony didn't tell me. And then that was the end of the relationship. And Lauren was only probably about 3 at the time. and I was heartbroken. I used to sit and play music, like sad music, and cry, because he then moved in opposite where I was living with his new girlfriend into his sister's flat. So I'd see them two going out. She used to have an open top sports car, and I'd see them driving up the mews, and then I'd just wallow in my sadness. Like me and Lauren would just be sitting there crying.
But I don't know if you've ever reflected on it, but it came across from me when you tell the story between your mum and your dad, and when she did leave him, but she always loved him, always carried that torch.
Did.
There's so many similarities between you and Tony and your mum and dad's situation. It was kind of like, wow, you're reliving what your mum went through.
My mum used to say to me, "He's too much like your father," and she was right. He was too much like my father, but he was so good looking, and he was a lovely man as well. He was. But just all the girls used to just throw themselves at him. He was really, really handsome.
It's like your dad, very cheeky. People love that charisma that he had.
Yeah.
Yeah. I loved it, honestly, and I don't want to give too much away. And it's done really well. You told me earlier in the green room.
Got to number 3 in the bestsellers at one time. I couldn't believe that. And I really wish my mum was there to see that. Because she never thought I worked, really. Because she used to go, "That ain't work, what you do."
Yeah.
Just saying your lines or whatever. You're not working down a coal mine or something, But it would be hard work because you'd have to do your homework at night. Basically, there was 3 of us and we'd have to learn all our lines 1 week for the next week or whatever. So it was quite hard work. And we'd get there at 7 o'clock in the morning and finish at 11 o'clock at night, and then we'd party, ready for the next day.
Is that frustrating for you? Because, me and Shane often chat. People sometimes say it's a breeze what you guys do. But you will know that so much work goes into that. So when people refer to it as, you're living a jolly, it's not proper work. You work so hard.
Yeah.
A lot of hours.
And
Does
I'm
it
never
frustrate
retiring either.
Good.
And nor is Leslie retiring. So we've got Gloria, who's in her 80s, Janet, who's like 78, so as long as we can keep going, I'll never leave. They'll have to get rid of me. And if they do, I'm just going to turn up anyway.
Be in the audience.
Oh, yeah. I'm still here.
Tipperary tart. Where did that come from?
Well, she called me the Dublin bitch, and I'd call her the Tipperary tart because my family are from Dublin and her family are from Tipperary. So it was just like a nickname that we had for each other.
That made me laugh. That's Pauline for people.
Pauline Quirke.
Yeah.
Who was and still is an amazing actress. She really, really is. I used to sometimes be jealous of some of the parts that she got. Not in a horrible way, but I used to think, I wish I had that part. I actually did a thing called Our Boy with Ray Winston, and I thought, I'd love to have done that, but not envious in a horrible way. I wouldn't wish she died so I got the part. I just wish I'd got the part.
I would love to see you in EastEnders as a regular.
Well, I did it was called Civvy Street, so it was set just after the Second World War, and I played Lou Bill's sister, Flo Bill, in it and that. And it was just like a one-off hour Christmas special and that. So I have actually been in EastEnders, but not in the... I'd love to do like a guest part in it. I wouldn't like to do like a regular. I wouldn't do a contract for 6 months, but I'd like to turn up and be a real evil bitch. Because I always play nice parts, really.
What family would you like to be part of?
The Slaters, I suppose, really. Yeah.
A bitch of a Slater.
Yeah.
What is it about comedy that you love so much?
Just making people laugh, really, or smile, like cheer people up and that, like when you just want a bit of escapism. I mean, I'm the worst one because I watch serial killers all the time. I love all of that. But,
light-hearted viewing.
Yeah, so I do. But I just think it cheers people up. When you just want a bit of escapism for half an hour or an hour or whatever, and it's nice to...
And does it do it for you as well? Is that your escape of, do you know what, I'm going to make, like when you make people laugh and you see that you've made them smile, is that your kind of escape?
Yeah. But some of the funniest stuff in Birds, they actually did like a whole episode of outtakes and that, and there was so many laughs in there. There really, really was. There was one scene where me and Pauline are in bed together, and then the doorbell's supposed to go, and it didn't go, and I went, "Oh, I wonder who that is," and then the doorbell goes afterwards, and then the audience love it when you make a mistake or whatever. So.
Well, we all obviously know you as well for Loose Women. Absolutely love the show, and you very much say it as it is. You don't hold back. And, you speak, you don't intend to ever come across in any way, but you will ask the questions that we all want asking.
But that's what Loose Women say to me. Linda, you'll get away with asking them that because I'm never horrible, but I'm not afraid to say them things to them.
I mean, to have Nigel Farage, how does it feel to be the most hated man? And I mean, that's...
So the next day they went, you've made the headlines everywhere. I said, no, I didn't know, actually.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I've done that a few times in the past, made the headlines. And when I get home, the kids go, "Oh, what have you done today?" They go to me, and I go, "Oh, I can't remember."
I mean, you did the show as a guest, for many years prior, and you did stand-in and stuff before becoming a regular. But how does it feel to be a regular? Because it seems that you have so much fun on that
Oh,
show.
I love it, honestly. And we've had so many brilliant guests in the past. I've been in bed with Ricky Martin. I've had a massage from Michael Bublé. I got sent to Cannes once, access no areas, and I had to get into a A-list party. I had to get a boat, a yacht for the next day to go live to Loose Women, and I had to get pictures done with A-listers, and I managed to do all of them as well.
You did?
So I went into the Carlton Hotel, and there was like Michael Fassbender there. There was all these people there, and then Robbie Williams and Ada came walking out, and I went over to them. Security went, "No, you can't talk to him." So they went, "Yes, you can." So I got like them to do like an interview, and I got loads and loads of people to do all these interviews. Went down to the harbour where all the yachts were, and there was all like Russian yachts and everything. And I kept going, "Excuse me, my name's Linda Robson. I'm a presenter." And they don't understand what I was saying. I go to the next one, say exactly the same thing. Can't go. Then I kept walking down. After about 10 yachts, I got to this yacht and I went, "Excuse me, my name's Linda Robson." He went, "Oh, hi, I'm Les from Essex."
Yeah.
So I ended up getting onto that yacht that day, and they filmed me live from Cannes to the roof was anchoring that day and saying, "Where are you?" And I told her I'd got all the challenges that I'd been asked to do and that. Because most people would have been scared to walk into to the Carlton Hotel. I weren't scared because I'd stayed there years before. So.
And with your ability to make friends, you then went back the following year and went on that yacht
so
with your
me
family.
and Mark and my kids went back the following year, and there was fireworks and everything. I said, "Les, I'm back again, but we don't have to film anything this time."
That's amazing, though, that you make friends.
I've got no fear in asking people, because I'm never horrible. I'll just say, "Would you mind if, or whatever," and I normally get away with it.
Have there been times on Loose Women where you've interviewed someone that you don't particularly like, where you hear that they're coming on, you think, "Oh no"?
Not really. I mean, a lot of the times we get the briefs the night before, and it will say so and so don't want to talk about this, and then we don't talk about it, because if you're horrible, then no one's going to want to come on the show. But no, I'm not scared to ask anyone anything really. But there's been amazing guests.
There was a moment of controversy when Kim Woodburn came on the show.
Oh my God!
That was very strange to watch.
It was absolutely horrible. It was so horrible, I can't tell you. So she'd just done Big Brother with Colleen Nolan, and then so she came on just to have a go at Colleen Nolan, really. And then all of a sudden she went to me, "And you're two-faced." I went, "I've never met you before. How can you say I'm two-faced? I'm not two-faced." It was like, and then everyone accused us of bullying her. We never bullied her. It was like she bullied us in a way. Do you know what I mean? It was just like, and I think it was Nadia's first anchoring job as well. And we're all sitting there with our mouth open. We couldn't believe what she was saying and everything. Then she marched on, then she marched off, and then she marched back on again. And
the thing was, there were so many complaints with Ofcom, but against you guys, not Kim.
Not her.
Everyone supported Kim. Did that, when you watch it back?
Because I think they thought she had mental health problems and that we were bullying her, but we weren't. We were completely oblivious to what was going on. Like she came on as a guest, and she just went for Colleen really, and then we were trying to support Colleen, and then she turned on me and said, "You've always been two-faced." I went, "Kim, I've never met you before. How can you say I'm two-faced? You don't know me."
Do you feel when you look back, because you're all very close,
so
to bring Kim on, who's got such bad relations with Colleen from Big Brother, to put her in the middle of clearly a good group of friends, do you look back and think, actually, that probably wasn't the best booking idea?
I think it was probably not a good booking, really. I don't think anyone realised it was going to be like that.
It took a turn.
God.
You were the one that I remember. You were so nice, and I think you touched and said, "Look, it's okay." You were quite supportive, and like you said, when she took, that was the bit I didn't get.
I felt sorry for her because she was going into this rant and that, like so I was trying to calm the situation down.
Yeah,
but hopefully she'll never be on the show again.
And you,
if she is, I hope I'm not on there.
You talk about Dame Kelly Holmes as well, and it seems like you guys have just really hit it off.
We've got a really good relationship. So I'd met her at a Pride March and that, and just started chatting to her and everything. And then I got her partner onto the Pride bus. So I gave her my pass to get onto the Pride bus and everything. And then I gave her my number. She gave me her number. And then she rang me and said, "Oh, they've asked me to be a loose woman. Will you come and meet me?" So I went and met her in Covent Garden. She's a member of a VIP club or whatever. So I went down there and just talked her through everything that we do. Like we get our briefs the night before. We get there early in the morning. So we start at like 8 o'clock in the morning. People can't believe that because we don't go live till 12:30. But then two of you, we have our meetings. Then two of you go to makeup, two of you go to wardrobe, and then we have another meeting, the final meeting before we go on and that. And I just talked her through everything. And then we've become really good friends. I just went to her 20th anniversary of her 2 gold medals a couple of weeks ago at the Savoy and that to celebrate. And there was like all these Olympians there and everything. It was amazing. She's really, really a lovely woman. And so is her partner, Lou. She's great.
She got you gifts, didn't she? Do you collect
She got me teapots because I'm obsessed with pots of tea.
Got you 3 of them?
Yeah, 3 teapots, red, white and blue they were.
And with the number
and I've got her cup with the number that she was when she ran when she won the 2 gold medals as well. And we went to her house. Lauren and my grandchildren went. We had a pride party there, and we all went to the house and that. And I always end up in bed with her. So when we did the Birds of the Loose Women tour, we'd scan hotels and we'd end up having a chat and watching telly in bed together and that. So.
Do you know, you spoke about, and I spoke to you briefly in the green room about this, that when you were on the bill, you played a drug addict and you purposely tried to make your hair look a certain way.
I grew the roots out and that, and I thought, oh, they're going to give me like some piercings or they're going to do some stuff to me. And then I got to the makeup room and they went, you're fine just as you are.
You must have been chuffed.
I went, can you not give me like some dark under the eyes or do something to me, like to make me look rough?
But they said, no, you look the part.
They said, you're fine as you are. I know, yeah.
You talk about as well that you struggle not to laugh in certain situations, but the bit that got me is funerals is something that seems to
for some reason, I know, yeah, for some reason, when it's quiet and it's like somber and everything. And then there was one time where my mum, so for her funeral we had Reet Petite, the finest girl you're ever going to meet, nice. And then afterwards we had Time to Say Goodbye, and we went to a funeral, and then I said to her, oh, Mum. So her partner's name was Johnny. I went, Mum, that was Johnny's song. And she started crying, and then she sort of stopped crying. It was like she was acting it or whatever. And then I started laughing, and then my sister went, what are you laughing at? When I couldn't even talk, I was laughing so much. I don't know why I was laughing at a funeral. Then my sister started laughing. She's going, pack it up, the pair of you. And that, so, but yeah, and I don't know why, this is a terrible thing to say, but if someone falls over, I laugh.
Yeah,
I will go and help them, but it makes me laugh, and I shouldn't laugh really. Sometimes people hurt themselves, but I don't know if it's a nervous thing or whatever.
Do you know what's amazing is you've been through so much and you've been very open about your struggles, and more later in life, that's when like you said before, if someone said to you, no, rubbish,
Yeah, it's never going to happen to me.
You were always the person there for everyone else, and then you went through that. And I think that's why so many people connect with you, because you showed nationally some vulnerability, and it kind of, everyone thought, wow, I go through that, but I don't say anything. And I think you've really helped people be able to say,
I hope so,
I'm
because
like that.
As I said, I never dreamed it would happen to me. I'm very close to the Swash family as well, so Joe Swash and Shana and Casey, and that we lived on the same estate together, and then their lovely dad Ricky died age 39, had a heart attack. He was a taxi driver, he used to run, he was a healthy eater and everything. Went to bed that night. I think they watched Cheers, had a Chinese takeaway. And my sister lived next door to him, and all of a sudden they heard these screams, and Ricky, the paramedics got there, but they couldn't save him. But on a lighter note, Joe Swash lost his virginity in my house. So,
really?
Yeah. So.
And then you were the only one from Loose Women at his wedding?
Yeah. So, because I'd known him since my kids grew up with Joe and that. So, so we went, and so when he came on Loose Women, they said, oh, Joe Swash is on. So I went, Joe. I said, oh, my God, what is it you lost in my house? I can't remember, Joe. He was going to me. He went, oh, shut up, Linda.
Putting him on the spot.
I know, yeah.
What's next for you now? Because obviously you're always on Loose Women, you're always doing different shows, but what is next for you?
I just want to do some more acting, really, because I did 2 films this year. I did Bermondsey Tales and I did Some Other Hood. I did 2 episodes of a series for Netflix called Hapless. We've also done, there's a drama series, I think it's called Craven or Raven, and it's like a murder thing, and then we discuss it on Loose Women, so we were acting as Loose Women on there. So I've done quite a lot of acting this year as well, which has been really, really nice. And me and Leslie want to do Gogglebox together.
Nice.
So, yeah.
You'd be brilliant.
I think we'd be really good on there as well, yeah.
Would you do Strictly?
I've been asked, I can't dance. I've been asked to do that, and I've been asked to do Dancing on Ice, but I always ask my kids, they went, Mum, you can't dance.
Oh,
So,
give it a go, though.
no,
It'd be amazing.
No, I would be the funny one. But I laid in bed when I got asked to do it, and I was thinking, oh, my God, right. So there we are. It's crowds are all there. The music starts. I walk out, and I go, I ain't got a clue what I'm supposed to do because I cannot remember one routine. Like even when I've done panto, I have to do like freestyle, or I have the dancer next to me going to the left, to the left, to the right, to the right, because I can't dance. I can't dance and I can't sing.
Well, you did the jungle and you were very good on that. I loved it when you were announced.
Yeah. So, but it was so funny because I never told my son and my husband that I was doing the jungle until 2 days before. I told my girls because I knew they'd be supportive and they'd say, "You'll be fine, Mum," because I knew I weren't going to scream and cry because they're watching me at home. So, and I just had my granddaughter Lila then, and it was the year that my mum died. So it was 2012. They asked me to do it. They'd asked me before. I was 54, and I thought, if I don't do it this year, I'm never going to. And I thought, I'm going to get away from everyone going, I'm sorry to hear about your mum. Sorry to hear about your mum. So I went out there and, so 2 nights before I went, we went for a meal and I said to my husband, my son, I'm going to do the jungle. And my husband went, you're going to kill yourself. He went, you're going to kill yourself live on television. He went, you won't like, because I hate rats as well. I've got a phobia about rats. He went, you're going to be terrible on it. Anyway, so they went, how will we know if you're all right? So my daughter said, just touch your ear. And I said, everyone touches their ear. So my son went, just go, cuckoo, cuckoo. So every time Ant and Dec came in, I'd go, cuckoo, just to let the kids know that I was all right. And then Ant and Dec started going, cuckoo, cuckoo.
They always catch on, don't they?
Yeah, they do, yeah. And then Joe was in the later show. So we'd go, the kids have arrived, Linda. And then he'd get into trouble for telling me that the kids have arrived and everything. But no, I loved it. I looked gorgeous when I come out as well. I lost 2 stone. It was like a detox. My hair was lovely, my skin was lovely, and I was skinny. So, yeah.
Honestly, it's been, like you said, we don't often get a national treasure on the sofa. So
2 in one day.
2. We're very lucky. So thank you so much for coming on Live Stories.
You're very welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.